today, and I know there's probably like no one watching right this minute, but that's okay. There will be hundreds before we're done, and literally all over the world. So I want to say thank you to all of you. Those of you who are watching on the Meet the Messenger page live, and we want to give a big shout out to our social media princess. Miss Aubrey is up there managing all of our social media. So if you have comments, you're welcome to put them on the J Loren Norris personal page, but we would appreciate it if you would jump over, just click on that hot link right there in the post, and click over to the Meet the Messenger fan page and watch the rest of the show there. You'll see the subtitles or the lower third, so you'll know who's talking and what organization they're from. We would love for you to participate. Any comments that you have, feel free to type them right there in the screen. Share the video, comment on the video, like the video, whatever you want to do. And any comments that you have or questions that you have for our guests, if you'll type those into the screen, our social media princess will write those down on a cue card and bring them to us between the live recording breaks, when we're actually recording the studio stuff. When we take a break from that, we will take a moment and answer your questions. If not, we'll do it as we finish the episode before we go into the next show. So we thank you all for being here, and from now on I'm going to ignore you. As much as we love you for being fans and watching the live broadcast, we are now going to turn to the studio cameras and prepare the show for the real Meet the Messenger airing that will be on television broadcast on IBM TV and on 51.4 digital channel in Dallas. Thank you and welcome to Meet the Messenger. I am your host, J Loren Norris, and I'm here today with some ladies from Initiative 180. I'm going to let them introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about what they do. Now, in case it's been a while since you've watched the show, or this is your first time joining us, Meet the Messenger is a little bit of a unique talk show, and by that I mean we have three very specific agendas. We want to teach, we want to demonstrate, and we want to activate. And by teach I mean we want to first tell you what it is that we do for the kingdom and what the Word says about that. Why do we bother to do this particular thing? And then we want to demonstrate how we've actually gone through the process and gotten that work done. What type of things have caused us to take action? And then finally, we want to talk about how you can take action doing the same thing or a similar thing. Maybe it's buy a book, maybe it's join an organization, maybe it's get off the couch, there's a notion, and do what God's called you to do. One of the things that we know for an absolute fact is the pimp and the pope both see Jesus. But because of their life circumstances, because of the experiences they've had, and where they find themselves today, they see him a little bit differently. And so do we. We want to talk to you about where God has us right now in this season, doing what he's called us to do. And maybe you'll find that God's called you to do something in this season of life as well. So I'm going to turn now to our guest. I want to welcome Miss Debbie. Thank you for joining us. And Julia, thank you for being here. Now, Debbie and I first met face-to-face in a coffee shop.
That's right.
And so tell me a little bit about what you were telling me at Starbucks. And I think our first introduction was actually through Donna Skell at Roaring Lambs. Is that right?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
I had seen you at I'm trying to get information about what our ministry does.
Okay.
And as I shared with you at the coffee shop, I said, it's my heart and my passion to share my testimony. And God has given me this testimony to share with others. And I didn't get to that place quickly.
Right.
It took me 35 years of holding on to a secret I thought it was impossible to forgive, the sin of abortion.
Wow.
And God, although I always knew who Jesus was, I knew it here,
Right.
but I didn't know him here. And once I learned that, he turned my life around. And that's how our ministry got started. Now Initiative 180, through its program of abortion recovery, helps women who are haunted by that secret, who feel like that is one thing in their life that cannot be forgiven.
Wow.
And we share God's word, and they realize just the wonders of God, the beauty of that relationship.
Julia, how did you get involved in Initiative 180?
Well, when I was 19, I also had an abortion, and I determined that that would be my secret. And I told one person at the time, and then no help was forthcoming, and I thought my only option was to get an abortion. And after that, I turned the key out in the lock, and I threw the key away, and I intended to keep that secret. until till the grave. But one night at church, we had cardboard testimonies, and Debbie stood up and revealed that she had had an abortion. And on one side of the card it said, I had an abortion, and on the other side, forgiven and healed.
Wow.
And I didn't know that you could be healed from an abortion, but I definitely was intrigued. And later she did a longer video version of her testimony, and I could see that she was genuine and that she had joy. And I knew that that's what I wanted, and I was willing to reveal my secret because I felt safe
Wow.
with her story. It so paralleled elements in my own story, and I thought, it's time. And God was leading me in that direction, and through Debbie, I got healing that I needed.
Now, are you a mom?
I am. I have 2 wonderful children.
Okay. And you've been married?
Married 36 years.
Wow. And you?
Been married 28 years. This is my second marriage. We have a blended family, but we have 3 great kids, all married, and 6 wonderful grandkids.
So, for each of you, what was it like when it was time to bring that secret out? When it was time to do that? I'm guessing that at that point you were both mothers. You had husbands.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what that was like.
I did share it early on with my husband. I felt like that's something that I couldn't, not tell him. But I never told anybody else. My parents never knew.
Wow.
My son never knew until I made the decision to go public. And I said, if this is public, he has the right to know. The grace that he exhibited when I told him is remarkable. I'll never forget that.
Wow.
It's very difficult because abortion is such a heated and divisive topic
Absolutely.
for people to want to discuss it, and they certainly don't want to reveal the fact that they've had an abortion.
All right.
And we offer a safe place for those women to come and talk about those emotions, talk about those hurts, and realize that God is right there with them all along.
I think about Romans 8:1. There is therefore now no condemnation for those who are in Christ. I can't imagine, though, when you think about the guilt, the mistakes, the power that goes along with that vice of I screwed up, that holds on to somebody without that knowledge that because of the blood of Christ there is no condemnation left for them. For someone without that gift, without that grace, that condemnation is still there. Not only in the eternal sense, but in the very real sense of I have no expectation that I can let this go, and that the world's going to be okay with it.
Abortion definitely changes a person. It changes the behavior. It did for me. And I acted out and did things that I'm not proud of. God never left me, though. He kept pulling me back in. The farther I tried to run away from him, the more he pulled me back in. And I met my husband. It was difficult at times. It was, we went through a lot of struggles, and I saw miracles in my life. And despite all the miracles that I saw, I still couldn't reveal that secret of abortion. That's such a stronghold. It was at church one night when I heard a sermon on forgiveness, and I was in the choir and we sang I Surrender All. And I literally turned around when I thought Jesus was tapping me on the shoulder. He said, "Are you sure? Debbie, are you sure about what happened in 1973? Are you ready to surrender that?" And once I did, it was never the same.
Wow. When we come back, I'm going to ask kind of some of the same questions of Julia. What has this journey been like? What was it like when the light was turned on, that grace was available for you, that the opportunity to be forgiven and to walk away was for real? And then what has it been like to bring those things into light and allow that journey of healing to take place as well. We'll be right back after these messages. I know you took my tissue box out of the shot, but where did it go? Thank you. Hey Bailey.
Hi, how are you?
Glad you're here.
Good, glad to be
Thank
here.
you. I'll just cry, baby.
That's okay.
Have a spare.
Any comments or questions from the peanut gallery? Aubrey?
Food?
Can you have food?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mom will make you a plate.
Zach's still out somewhere.
Zach is eating all the food that he had.
I asked him to, I texted him and asked him to, and he said, no.
All right. We're ready to go back?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you again for watching. We appreciate you staying with us here on Meet the Messenger. I have in studio with me a couple of guests. Julia and Debbie have both walked a journey that many women are absolutely horrified of. And by that I mean exposing the deepest, darkest secret. The kind of secrets that some women have taken their life to keep a secret. The kind of secret that sometimes will destroy a marriage. And there's got to be a right way to reveal a secret like that. There's got to be a right way to know there is no condemnation. Welcome back, ladies, and thank you. Julia, tell us a little bit about what your story was like when, as Debbie said, that little tap from Christ to say, are you sure you've let go of everything?
Mm-hmm. Well, I knew I hadn't. I had told my husband before we married, and then I truly never spoke of it again. And if it came up in conversation, I would get very nervous, and I would worry about, what I might be revealing subconsciously, because I really wanted to protect that secret. And, there's not support groups that you know about. Like if you have a disease or if you have an addiction or behaviors, and you can go and you can get help and you can meet other people who suffer from that. But when you've had an abortion, there is shame that is so intense, and nobody wants to bring that into around the table and discuss it. But that's what we're trying to do with our ministry. We're trying to be that support group, and we're trying to hold Bible studies. And through our Bible studies, we offer healing. And when I first learned about someone having the courage to speak about an abortion, the word healing had no concept for me. I didn't understand it, and I didn't understand that there was healing for the wound of abortion, because that's what abortion does. It creates a wound inside the woman. I mean, you have the physical death of the baby, and so there's that, but the woman also experiences a wound that she carries with her, and then she tries to put Band-Aids on top of that with drugs or alcohol or sex or work or family. It can be bad things, it can be good things, but it's all out of balance, and it's all in an effort to push that shame deeper and deeper, and just to cover that wound. And so when I learned about healing, I went through the Bible study, and it was the hardest thing I ever did, but Debbie was there, and Debbie and Christ. Christ was just surrounding her and giving her the strength and me the courage that we needed to go through the Bible study. And through that, I learned that Christ's righteousness and His love, and especially His forgiveness, were what were going to heal me.
I found in my own journey back from addiction and all of the mistakes that I've made, the lives that I've damaged, the people that I've hurt, that the hardest person to forgive and reconcile with was me. There were other people whose lives I've been able to at least go back and say, I'm sorry, and many of them have said, I get it. It wasn't right, it wasn't good, the results have not been good, but I get it, and I forgive you. For me, though, every time I look in the mirror, that hatred just comes back. And as Christ is recovering me from that, as Christ is pulling me back out of that ash heap, I find the jewel that He created, not the mess that I created. And I think that as we walk through that process with other people, we have the same kind of journey. Who were some of the toughest people to reconcile with in this revealing of the secret and coming clean, so to speak?
Well, definitely family. Christ himself said that, you know, the hardest thing is ministering to your own family, and you're not welcome in Nazareth,
Your own hometown.
your own hometown. So that's why I didn't reveal it. But once I openly confessed to my family and my children, you know, they were still the loving and supportive people that I always knew they would be. For others, it's more difficult. There may be the father of the child that doesn't want you to go public for one reason or another. There's just a lot of different facets. We try to respect people's confidence. You know, we respect their anonymity. We always want them to have a seat at our table, and we intentionally keep our groups small so that people can share, because that's a great source of healing. What we do is an 8-week study that walks and guides women through the grief process, because abortion is a grief that's denied in this country. You hear on one side that it's totally fine, there's nothing wrong with it, and then on the other side, there's everything wrong with it. So these women and men are affected equally, are hurt by that, and they need a safe place to talk.
So do you offer help or therapy for the guys as well?
We refer them to another organization in the Metroplex.
Very good.
And we are praying that a man will, who is healed, will come forward and join our organization and offer that.
So if you have considered being activated in the body of Christ in some way, and that's your story, that's your testimony, then take that to heart, pray about that. And you can definitely find Initiative 180 online. Find
Yes,
information about that.
initiative180.org,
Initiative180.org.
and that you can reach us by telephone or email.
And I'm guessing through that they can find when and where you meet, the types of meetings?
Actually, we do not advertise where, because we respect the confidence.
Okay.
They can,
So they have to make an initial contact with you?
they have to make an initial
Very good.
contact.
And you
then
have a
we
chance then to
reach
vet
back
them,
out.
and you know who they are and
But I
what they're
will
up to?
say our next Bible study starts September 29th.
Okay,
So,
so you got plenty of time to be a part of that.
mhm.
What would be your message to those who are sitting on the fence, if you will? You're standing just outside of the light of the door going, I hear what you're saying, but I'm horrified. I'm terrified of the idea of telling my story, of coming out, of being found out. What would you say to them?
We do not condemn, because we've been there ourselves. And our message is really simple. For those who have considered abortion or know someone considered abortion, listen to our stories, because they are stories of lives that have been adversely impacted by that decision. And we would not recommend the abortion to anyone. And for those who have gone through that decision and it's haunted them and it impacted their lives, there is hope and healing. You know, abortion makes no discrimination on who it hurts, but equally, recovery makes no discrimination on who it helps.
I like that. Right. Say that again.
Abortion makes no discrimination on who it hurts, but likewise, recovery makes no discrimination on whom it helps.
Well, what would you add?
I would add that anybody that in your family or your group that doesn't accept your story is going to pale in comparison to the women who will respond. And that's what gives me the boldness to be on TV or to be in this group or wherever and speak about something as terrible as abortion. I know that there are women out there who are keeping a secret and covering over shame, and I want them to know that Jesus Christ loves them unconditionally, that He has the gift of forgiveness, and they just have to accept it. And then we want to help lead them through the healing of the next step after that.
You know, one of the things that really strikes me is the idea that, and we say it all the time, usually about sexual sins in the church. You know, someone falls, they make a bad decision, they stumble, and we tend in the body of Christ to shoot the wounded. We seldom will reach out and help them recover. We're like, how dare you do that? We can't believe you behave that way. And I think that, you know, the idea of divorce has that kind of stigma. You know, the challenge of being a single mom. I married a single mom. I was raised by a single mom. There's a stigma that goes with being a mother without a father or a husband following you around. People kind of look at you and go, I don't even want to know how that happened. And so there's that little thing going on in the back of your head. There's a song, and I don't even remember who sings it, that talks about, and then the video is more powerful, I think, than the words of the song, but it says, did we even really see her? And in the picture, you see the girl doing the walk of shame, and the next morning, you know, from the apartment, gets in her car, she pulls up in front of the church, and her hair is disheveled, and her dress is too short, and mother walks by with her daughter and sees her and covers her daughter's eyes and, you know, keeps going, and the mother and her son walks by, and she covers his eyes and keeps going, and the girl's like, can I even come in? And then you see her serving at the table, and they just, no money, they just leave her on track, and you're like, how will we ever say to the broken, you are loved?
As a post-abortive woman for years, I sat in the pews. You know, I wanted God. I didn't know how to have that relationship for a long time. But for the longest time, I would hear sermons about the sin of abortion. And I would want to crawl right underneath the pew and slither out.
It was like a spotlight was aimed at you.
It's right on me. And then finally, I think pastors are learning that you can't talk about the sin without talking about the grace.
Amen. And it doesn't really matter, you know, there are different theologies. Mine is really simple. There's the righteousness of Christ, and then there's everything else. And so it doesn't matter if it's a little white lie or cheating on your taxes or murder. If it's outside of the righteousness of Christ, it's sin. And the magnitude of that sin in this life is going to have significantly different consequences. You know, I don't get hunted down every day when I break the speed limit, which I unfortunately do on a regular basis. I don't get hunted down every day when I, you know, don't sign my receipt exactly right on my credit card. If I were to murder someone, they would be hunting me down. And so the consequences of the decisions that we make are completely different. And the social mores that go along with them change as well. As you said, in 1973, abortion became legal,
Yes.
which means our worldly system says, that's okay. Not only is that okay, it's a great business model. And not only is it a great business model, Carol Everett, I believe, is the one who wrote the book Blood Money.
Yes.
She was my next door neighbor when I was growing up.
Wow.
Or, excuse me, her sister was. That whole process is not only okay by the world, it's almost applauded. And on the other side of that, we have a church that says, I can't believe that. You're just not worth, you know, talking about. And people can't see our God because his people are in the way. And I think that's something we need to change.
The church needs to realize that 1 in 3 women in the church have had an abortion.
Say that again.
1 in 3 women in the church have had an abortion.
1 in 3 women in the church.
In the church or outside the church, just 1 in 3.
Wow.
So, you know, for pastors to say it doesn't affect my church, they need to think again.
And they just have their head in the sand.
Right.
Well, and I think the language of grace, you know, a lot of people get onto Joel Osteen from a theological standpoint and think he's never talking about sin. But there's a great truth in the idea that the more you think about something, the more you talk about something, the more prevalent it becomes in your life. We talk about sin all the time. We have a heightened sin consciousness. But we need to talk about grace a whole lot more. We need to talk about God's ability to forgive. Is not only willingness, but unbelievable passion to let it go. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk a little bit about Initiative 180 and how you can personally get involved, whether it's your story or not. Maybe you don't know anyone who's ever had an abortion, but I'll promise you in the course of your life, you're going to run into someone who's pregnant and not expecting it, whether it's by rape or it's by incest or it's by bad choices. And the consequences are still significant. To keep the baby, put the baby up for adoption, or to abort the baby. And there need to be options that are clearly expressed and decisions that are made wisely. So we're going to talk a little bit about how Initiative 180 gets involved in that process as we come back from the break for our final segment on how to activate. Thanks for watching Meet the Messenger. We'll see you right after this. How you doing up there?
Good.
Anybody watching?
No.
Okay. They will. How about you, Jesse? Anybody watching on that one? One? Okay. Any comments? Okay. It's probably freaking them out a little bit. It's Sunday afternoon, football day.
It's a real conversation stopper.
Yeah.
Actually, it'll be a great conversation to
Where'd the
start.
cords go that were on the floor?
The broken ones? Probably in the trash. I don't know.
Where'd it go?
I'm gonna put them in there. One.
We'll fetch them.
Do you have to do that right now? We need to keep going. Do it later. I love raising teenage boys.
Uh-huh.
It's like herding cats. Only bigger and they break stuff. All right, we have 2 minutes before that camera shuts itself off. So
Okay.
we're going to come back and do a really quick 2-minute wrap up.
Okay.
All right.
We doing okay?
We're doing good. Welcome back to Meet the Messenger. We're here for our final segment with Julia and Debbie, and I just want to say thank you for watching all the way through, because I know this is a bit of a, as Julia said, it could be a conversation stopper, not a starter. But I think it's a very important topic, and it's one that not only needs to be discussed, but it's one that needs to be available and accessible to the world to know that there are options. So, ladies, tell me a little bit about what someone can do, whether they considered abortion, never considered abortion, know no one who's even been pregnant yet, but the idea that it's so prevalent in our culture. What are some ideas for people to be engaged, to be activated?
They need to be informed and educate themselves about what abortion does to a person.
Okay.
You know, we know that it kills the baby, but what a lot of people don't know is the effects of the mother and the family structure. For instance, a mother's children, future children, or existing children, she may not be able to bond with those children very well, either holding them at a distance thinking that she's going to harm them too, or being so overprotective that she harms them. So the relational structure within the family is damaged. And then society. I mean, the statistics show that those who have experienced one or multiple abortions are at risk of drug and alcohol abuse, depression leading to suicide.
And all those things that just cover up the Band-Aids over
Yes,
the
because as
shame.
Julia said earlier, you are numbing that pain with any outside source.
And so, I see you've got a book with you.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that book and how that addresses some of those issues.
The book actually tells my story and how God drew me close to Him and how the ministry got started. And then I share, once I started sharing my story, how our ministry grew. Julia's story is there as well as other women in our ministry. And basically, I think it emphasizes the fact that it's important to be able to share your testimony, whatever what you're healed from. But you need to be able to be willing to say to a person, this is what God has done through Jesus Christ in my life.
Okay.
And that's what gave me power.
So I see the book is Go Tell It.
Yes?
So for those of you who can't see it, go tell it. And your foreword is by Mama T.
Yes.
Thelma Wells. We've got some projects coming up with Thelma Wells in the near future.
She's a great woman.
Generation Love Tour. My son and I will be doing some stuff with that as well. And Julia, your testimony is in here as well?
It is.
Was that terrifying to write?
Not really.
Not after you've been through the process. Very
That's
good.
right.
And the 8 steps that you talked about in the Bible study, are they discussed in here as well?
Briefly.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it kind of points in that direction.
It points in that
Is there a
direction.
lot of statistical information in here for people who want to be informed?
There is a certain section, because I want to educate people
Right.
through the book about the impact of abortion.
Okay, very good. Ladies, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you stopping by and being here in the studio with us today. Again, you can pick up the book now. It's from Clovercroft Publishing. Where all is it available? Is it on Amazon?
Amazon, Barnes and Noble, you can order it through any Christian bookstore or any leading bookstore.
Or right on the website.
All right.
Right on the website. So go get your copy of Go Tell It. If you know someone who has had the experience of having had an abortion or they're contemplating it, and recovery is a huge issue to preserve their family and maybe even preserve their life, go grab a copy of Go Tell It and share that with them. Or send them to initiative180.org so they can find help and find a group to be a part of. The next one you said starts September 29th?
That's correct. September
September 29th. Right here in the Metroplex. We're not going to tell you where. You've got to make contact to find that out. We thank you again for watching Meet the Messenger. We ask that you would continue to pray for us and those guests that you see on the show and the impact that they have in this world. Now, you've been taught and you've seen the demonstration in action and you've been activated. So go do what God's called you to do. I'm J Loren Norris, your host for Meet the Messenger. Have a blessed day. Yep, you can stop everything. That wasn't so hard, was it?
No, it was
No.
great. Next time I won't cry so much.
All right, we'll take your mics off before you try to move there.
It stopped streaming.
I know it stopped streaming because the camera went off and somebody had gone to get a snack rather than watching the camera, so he didn't know that it stopped.
Well, it didn't stop streaming then. It just now randomly stopped streaming.
Did I turn it off?
Okay, so yeah, he turned the camera off.
Because he turned it off. Well, okay.
So stop all the streaming and then we need to open a new Facebook Live. Stop that camera too.